this is a whole new venture for us, trying to communicate through video and maybe some other resources as well, to give you some tools and strategies to help you work your way through the minefield of business ethics and find a way to be the kind of manager you want. You know, one of the questions is can you be both a good business person and a good person? And the answer is, of course you can. Let me give you a moment of background so at least you know where I'm coming from on this. I was a law professor for 20 years, and in that context is when I began to think about ethics. Actually, I was kind of forced into the area of ethics shortly after Watergate. You may have heard of Watergate, that about 20 lawyers were involved in perjury and obstruction of justice. And so the American Bar Association said, we've got to deal with this. And so they decided to create a mandatory course in legal ethics in law school. Well, whenever you have a mandatory course, you don't have enough teachers, so the deans had to go around and assign different people to teach the course. And my turn came up in 1976. Now, I was teaching what I call the warrior courses, trial practice and negotiation, and the hard courses that were challenging, and sometimes where it's hard to think about ethics all the time. But then I was assigned to teach the ethics course, and at first I said, I can do this, I'll look for loopholes and ambiguities. But something else happened that changed my life, and I think maybe some of you can identify with. I became a father for the first time in 1976. My son Justin was born. And I remember distinctly one night as I was trying to prepare for my ethics course, and my son had colic. This happens to be very relevant, because if you ever had a child with colic, you know you're up in the middle of the night a lot, you know. Either hoping you or the baby goes to sleep. It doesn't matter which. But the fact of the matter is I'm there at 3 o'clock in the morning and thinking about the course, and I started to think, would I want to teach my son ethics the same way I was approaching at the law school? This idea of cost-benefit analysis, what's the downside risk, what's the real likelihood of getting caught? And I realized how bankrupt that was, and it really started me on this notion of trying to distinguish between what is the right thing to do and what you have a right to do. And those things are really quite different. And so it started me on the whole course of ethics, and ultimately I had a private company that prepared people for bar exams, and it was a publishing company that helped law students prepare for law school. And when I sold those companies in the mid-'80s, I had an opportunity to think about what I really want to do with the rest of my life. I was lucky enough to be financially secure, and I set up this institute in honor of my parents. The formal name of the institute is the Joseph and Edna Josephson Institute of Ethics. And the goal is to dedicate the rest of my life to trying to create the kind of world where my children, I now have 5 of them, that my children can comfortably live, and I feel good about it. And so what the Institute does is it tries to affect organizational and individual behavior to improve the ethical quality of society. We do it on the basis of core ethical values called the 6 pillars of character. You'll hear a lot about this if you tend to these tapes a lot. It's trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. And our notion is that this matrix of basic principles is what we need to lead better lives, to run better organizations, better companies, and have a better society. I hope you'll come back often. I hope you'll find in these tapes the things you want. If you don't, I hope you'll write us and tell us what you'd like us to talk about, because our goal is to help you be all that you could be, because we really do believe that character counts.